Hello. So, as many of you may know, I have been talking about starting an aquarium in the classroom. This is a small one, this is 5 gallons, and I intend to have live fish and live plants in here. So far I have, this is called a sword plant, and there's also some moss in the back here. You may or may not be able to see that. There's a piece of floating driftwood which at some point will sink. And in this plastic container up here, I have two very small guppies that I'm going to be adding today. But before I add the guppies, I want to explain something. So guppies poop, like anything. I don't need to explain that. But when they poop in the water, they are adding nitrogen to the water in the form of fish waste, which will break down into ammonia. And if you remember from our nitrogen cycle, that's called ammonification, when the fish waste breaks down into ammonia. From there, we have a slow process of nitrification as the ammonia breaks first into nitrite and then into nitrate. Now, ammonia and nitrite are both toxic to fish. Nitrate, not so much. However, ammonia, nitrite, and nitrate, all those things are food for plants. Additionally, there is a filter in this, which essentially is just a sponge, and the water is flowing constantly through the sponge. And so over time, we will begin to develop nitrifying bacteria in the sponge that the water flows through, as well as on the sand in the bottom. And that will process the ammonia from ammonia into nitrate, and will create an environment that the fish can safely live in. But this takes about 6 weeks to happen. And so during those 6 weeks, we have to feed the fish only sparingly, just a little bit at a time, and we have to test the water daily for ammonia and nitrite and nitrate. So this is my first time. Not my first time doing this. This is my first time testing and adding the fish. So I'm going to test for you today. And then over the course of the next 6 weeks, I'm going to start every class with an update on the tank, as well as to show you where we are with the testing of the nitrate and nitrite and ammonia. And we can watch this nitrogen cycle progress, and we can watch these guppies grow. And this will be something that you get to observe daily if you check into Google Classroom. So I'm going to record this and I'm going to put this up for anybody to see, but all future updates will not be recorded. You'll have to check into Google Classroom if you want to observe what's going on here. So let's get started. So this is my testing kit. Most of this is my testing kit. And in my testing kit, I have a number of different things, including these little vials, these little glass vials, which hold 5 milliliters of water. And I need 3 of these, actually 4 of these full, because I'm going to test for pH today as well. And Mr. Lynch was nice enough to give me this little syringe, which it goes up to 6 milliliters, but it measures up to 5 milliliters. So I'm going to pull some water out of this, and I'm going to fill up each one of these with 5 milliliters. Okay. All right, so first things first, we've got the pH test. This says, I don't know if you can read that little number right there. It says to add 3 drops. It's kind of hard to read. So I'm going to add 3 drops to one of these. 1, 2, 3. And cap it. And then I'm just going to turn it twice, back and forth, and it turns this color. And now what I have to do is compare that here to this color right here. So it's pretty dark. It's maybe even darker than that. So I might have to test again. I might need a 5th test tube. Okay, so the results of my high range pH show that this is probably around 7.8, 7.9, maybe even 7.7. So it's in the high 7s, and this is just fine for guppies. So they'll be plenty happy with that pH. All right, so now it is time for the ammonia test. Now the ammonia is the most toxic thing for fish. So we want this to be 0 or close to it. 8 drops of this one. 1, 2, 3. And then this one requires a part 2. So now, part 2, 8 drops of this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this doesn't give us the test results immediately. What we have to do is cap it and shake it for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we have to give it 5 minutes to develop the color. So while we're waiting for that to develop the color, we're going to move on to the nitrite test. Nitrite test is just a single test, single bottle. Requires 5 drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we will put the cap on that. Shake it for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we have to wait 5 minutes for that color to develop. And the last one, the nitrate test, is the longest. So first thing we have to do is 10 drops of the first solution. So there's 10 drops of that solution. And now the second solution, before we can add the second solution, we have to shake the second solution for 30 seconds. So now that we've shaken this for 30 seconds, I have to add 10 drops of this solution, and then I have to shake the whole thing for 1 whole minute, and then wait 5 minutes for it to develop. Okay, so I've done the testing, and we've waited 5 minutes, so I'm going to show you the results. So this is the ammonia test, and we need to look at this central line here and compare it. It's really close to 0, and in fact, in the daylight, or not the daylight, in the light here in the classroom, it looks even closer to 0 than it does there on the camera. So I guess, it's pretty hard to tell the color on the camera there, but it looks like it's between the first and second block of color here. So very little, almost no ammonia. All right, nitrite. This is this column here. Pretty easy to tell on this one that is 0 nitrate. And nitrate, that's the last column here. And it's pretty easy to tell on that one that is 0 nitrate. So we have just a little bit of ammonia, tiniest bit, almost looks like 0. So we're going to add the fish, and we'll then recheck these every day. I'm not going to go through this process on video every day, but I'll show you the results every day. And I'll give you a little update on how the fish are doing, and who knows, maybe you guys can even name them, but only if you show up in class. All right, so let's work on moving them from their little spot to the tank. I got this tiny little net here, and I'm going to pull this out. And maybe you can see them swimming around in there. Pretty hard to see them. There you go. Got them a little bit right there. Okay. They're not going to respond too well to being netted, but what can they do? They're fish. I don't know if I can get them both at once, but I will try. It's very hard with a round container, a square net and a round container. Haha, I got them. They swam over the net, so I was able to grab them. Okay, so here we go. And up and in. I don't know if you can see them very well. All right, so here they are in the tank, in the net rather, and let's see if they're willing to come out. Come on, guys. There you go. And we have fish in the tank. So I believe that this one's a male, a little bit bluer, and the one's a little bit yellower, I think, is a female. It's hard to tell at this age, but that's what I think. All right, so log in to your biotech classes daily for your daily update about these fish.